In this lab video, I'll show you how to determine the point of subjective equality for the Mueller-Lyer illusion lab. We'll want to do an objective assessment of the data here to try to determine how much bigger the smaller appearing line has to be in order for you to view it as being equivalent in size to the larger appearing line. This is what we call the point of subjective equality, the point at which we would determine that both lines appear to be the same length. Another way to think about this is when you're asked which line is longer, you select either line with a probability of 50%. Graphically, if we look at the output from the experiment, we can see that our graph gives us, on the y-axis, the proportion of lines without wings being called bigger, and on the other axis we have the size of the line without wings, given in the number of pixels. So what we want to determine here is the point of subjective equality, and that's the point where the proportion is equal to 50%. If we draw a line straight over from the 50% point and then drop a line down to the other axis, this would be the point of subjective equality. In this case, it looks like it's somewhere around 114 pixels. What that means is that for the line without wings to look as big as the other line, it would have to be at least 114 pixels instead of the 100 pixels the other line is. Well, a graphical analysis is a good rough estimate of what that point of subjective equality is. We can mathematically determine the point with more accuracy using a mathematical approach known as linear interpolation. Let's go to the raw data now. Again, we're looking at the proportion of the line without wings being judged as bigger, and we want to know at what point was that judgment at 50%. In this table, it's going to be somewhere between 0.7 and 0.2. For your own data, what you want to do is pull out these 3 points. The point below where 0.5 would be, the point above where 0.5 would be. Call the first one x1, 0.2, x2 is the 0.5 that we're looking for, and then x3 is the next larger number. Find the corresponding numbers in the first column. We'll call y1 the size of line without wings that's associated with the 0.2 proportion, y1, and we'll call the size of the line without wings here 115 associated with the x column of 0.7. We'll call that y3. What we're interested in knowing is what is the y associated with 0.5. That's the value we're missing. To help you calculate that, you'll find in the lab document a link to an online linear interpolation calculator. Determine these values, x1, x2, x3, y1, and y3 from your data, and then take that to the online linear interpolation calculator. What you'll find when you get to that web page is something that looks like this. Simply put in your values, x1, x2, and x3, y1 and y3, hit calculate, and it will give you the value for y2. That will be the point of subjective equality. Remember, if you have questions, you can always post them on the discussion board.